High-value guys should pay attention to these 6 signs that a woman is over you. Often the most significant message remains unsaid. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When a woman is done with you, it's the most important thing that can be said." Although she doesn't always express it explicitly, her actions frequently convey a significant message. Men miss the most important signs until it's too late, leaving them to wonder what went wrong. But today on Stoic Diary, we'll look at the 6 most important signs that show. While she's still interested in the connection, learning this early can make all the difference. Firstly, this is intended for high-value individuals who aim to maintain a competitive edge. Make sure you don't miss these signs. Number 1, she stops starting talks. The signs of a woman's disinterest in you start out subtle but grow. If you're a high-value man, you need to pay attention and see these signs early. This ensures you don't waste time or effort on something that is already fading away. Stopping to start talks is one of the most telling signs. Think back to the times when her phone was always ringing with texts, even if they were just memes. She just wanted to say hello or share something that reminded her of you. If that turns into silence, that's a warning sign that can't be overlooked. Her desire to connect has faded, and it's no longer a game. It's a sign that she's pulling away mentally. In the world of Stoicism today, it's important to see this as a chance to think. Epictetus told me that how you react matters more than what happens to you. What counts is how you handle it, not who you chase after. Who is pulling away? A man of high value must be content with what he does, and choices that focus on staying stoic and happy no matter what the outside situations are. Let's be honest, if you're always the one to start, talking to people is like trying to keep a fire going with wet logs. Being the one who keeps reaching out is tiring, annoying, and ultimately pointless. You're putting effort into something that's not giving you anything back. This is where self-control and self-worth come into play in the world of Stoicism. Modern life teaches us to pursue our desires, but Stoicism advises against it. We must let go of things we cannot change. In this case, the only thing you can change is how you respond. You risk your peace and self-care by holding on to something that is going away. Only drains your mental energy. It's time to put your attention back on yourself. Building up inner strength and serenity are signs of stoic happiness. Another clear sign is if she stops putting time with you first. She would make time in her busy day to see you, even if it was just for a quick call or a cup of coffee. If she hasn't put any effort into the relationship anymore, it means she's no longer interested in it. Are going away, and this change in behavior is hard to take. However, it's a situation that every man of worth must learn to handle with grace. Today, we learn about Stoicism and how to handle situations such as whether someone wants to spend time with us. We can't change. Marcus Aurelius told you that you can change your mind. Don't let outside events change this, and you'll find strength. Instead of following her, use that energy to make yourself and your own life better. Putting yourself around people who value your time and appearance is another important sign. When she's not as interested in direct connection, is an indicator of mental closeness, and when that starts to fade, the first one typically reacts in the same way when her touches, hugs, or even kisses feel distant or non-existent. It's evident that things have changed from their previous state. Seneca reminds us not to worry about things we can't change. We experience more mental pain than physical pain, so don't let the absence of physical pain deter you. Instead of letting love be the center of your mental life, work on mastering your feelings. Create a solid inner foundation that is resistant to external changes. If a woman shows these signs, you shouldn't try to get her attention or beg for it. Instead, focus on what you can control, your thoughts actions and feelings to be calm and happy. The stronger your inner world is, the less these changes in the outside world will affect you. Remember that being a man of high value means knowing when to leave without losing your cool. Just like the old Stoics did, know when to channel that energy back into yourself. Don't stress out, stay centered, and most of all, stay true to yourself. 2. Her answers become short and far away. It's a sign you can't ignore when a woman's answers go from being interested to being short and distant. As a man of high value with a tough exterior, you take a deep breath and text her. You write down what you feel and think, but what do you get back? A cold. Once upon a time it hurts, doesn't it? Your conversations were smooth and full of energy. You sent long, thoughtful texts. Now, those times seem like a long time ago, and every conversation feels difficult to hold. We have limited her responses to single letters to ensure she can respond with more than a single word. Images, or even worse, those awful read receipts that don't have any responses at all. When you start a chat over and over again and get almost nothing in return, that is a significant warning sign. It indicates that she is emotionally distant. It's very possible that she's already thinking about leaving. Let me tell you a story that you might find interesting. My friend Mike. He recently encountered the same situation. He had been dating this woman for a few months. At first, everything was great. They would talk for hours, share stories, and feel a real bond. But over time, something changed. Her answers became shorter and less often. Mike didn't want to believe that things were changing because she looked like she was busy while they talked. He didn't pay attention to the warnings and kept going, thinking things would go back to how they were. But the more he tried, the farther away she got until she stopped responding altogether. Mike encountered a challenging lesson when he failed to concentrate on the present moment due to his fixation on the present. As a man with a tough exterior, you need to spot these warning signs right away. It's not about pursuing someone who no longer wants you. It's about knowing how much you're worth and when to leave someone. Do you dare to leave when you don't think it fits? Do you dare to let go and come back to yourself? If "I dare" isn't enough to convince you, you can say it. Tell me what you're thinking right now, or just leave a note. I need to think about this some more. Have you noticed that the way she talks to you has changed? Are you always trying to start a conversation? That feels like it's on life support. A man of high value knows how powerful silence can be, and leaves when you have to if her answers have become short and distant. It's important to realize that she may have mentally checked out already, so ask yourself, are you wasting your time by hanging on to something that isn't there anymore? A patient man doesn't hold on to things he can't change, such as trying to restart a relationship that has already ended. He also doesn't tolerate insults from others who don't return the favor. At the end of the day, it's not about sending her more texts to win her back. It's about realizing that you deserve someone, not more calls or more work from you. Someone who will meet you halfway and value the link as much as you do is needed. As a man with a calm mind, the most important thing you can learn from this is how to deal with stress. Keep your energy safe and avoid pursuing someone who has already withdrawn. You reclaim your power and open new avenues, ones that fit with the high-value man you're becoming. So the next time, if she replies quickly and distantly, don't see it as a task to win her back. Instead, see it as a sign that you need to move on and better yourself. Let her know what she missed in her own time. What are you going to do with this information? Will you continue to attempt to repair the damage, or will you opt for strength? Leave with your honor intact. 3. She expresses a desire to spend time with you. 3. She doesn't want to hang out with you. One clear sign that a woman is over you is if she doesn't want to spend time with you. Imagine that every time you ask her to hang out, she gets busier than a Wall Street CEO. Plans with friends, a headache, or even a pet goldfish are always good. The reasons for urgent surgery keep coming up. Everyone is just as useful as the last, but are you paying attention to what's going on here? This isn't just a case of women being done at the wrong time. Your invitations no longer hold the same appeal for her as they once did. Instead, they begin to cause her discomfort. Whether she's intentionally creating space or not, it's crucial to understand this, because they could have if they wanted to, which is true in this case. People make time for the things they care about. If she keeps avoiding you, she's probably not just busy. She's likely making it clear that her goals have changed, and you're not one of them. Have her excuses become less clear? More often, our plans keep falling through at the last minute, and we don't try to reschedule. If you see more of her excuses for not being able to meet up than real face-to-face time, that's a serious concern. It's not a coincidence that she's erecting barriers to maintain emotional distance from you. Though difficult to accept, space is saying something clear. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You need to take the hint that she's moving on." You are in charge of your thoughts, not outside events. Remember this, and you will be strong. Being a high-value man means you have to face this brutal truth with the lessons of Stoicism in mind. Stoicism teaches us that we can only control our own reactions, not others. What will you do when she moves away? Will you chase after something that has already vanished, falling through your fingers? Or will you stand firm in your self-worth and know that this story is coming to an end? Having the inner strength to see things as they really are is what Stoicism means in this case, not the way we want them to be. It's about realizing that if she's avoiding you right now, making her connect with you won't change her mind or how she feels. Instead, you should focus on yourself. Your self-care, your goals, and your journey to growth are all important considerations. Consider the point of keeping someone who no longer wants you. Not holding on to something that's going away is stronger, right? Being stoic means knowing when to let go and believing you'll benefit. You're making room for something better right now. You can either start to doubt yourself and question every deed and reason, or, because Epictetus said so correctly, you can face the truth with grace and strength. What counts is not what happens to you, but how you handle it. Even though she's pulling away, that doesn't change who you are or how much you're worth as a man. You're more than someone's rejection. What she does doesn't alter your worth. High-value guys know this very well. They know that sometimes the best thing to do is to step back, watch, and then let go. So how are you going to use what you've learned in your own life? Will her actions rock your foundation? Do you want to learn about Stoicism by getting stronger, and what it can teach you? The choice is yours. What steps will you take? Ensure that you maintain control over your emotions, regardless of the actions of others. She no longer fights or cares about issues. A lot of people think that peace in a relationship is always a beneficial thing, but sometimes silence can be the loudest indication that something is amiss. Men of worth need to be able to tell when a woman is done, not just emotionally but also mentally. Understanding these signs is crucial for personal growth and happiness when a woman ceases arguing. If someone wants to help you fix the problems in your relationship, it's not a sign that everything will go well. In fact, when two people are deeply in love, what you might see is just the storm building below the surface. There will always be disagreements, and that's often a sign of care and dedication. When treated with maturity, disagreements are chances to grow. They show that both people are willing to work things out, are ready to work at making things work. But when she stops talking to them, it's not because she's found peace of mind that she doesn't want to argue or even talk about the problems you both face, or got past the problems. Alternatively, she might have already checked out. Lethargy, not anger, is what truly ends relationships. A wise teacher said that how you handle things matters more than what happens to you. A silent response means the relationship is over. To be present. Stoicism today tells us to let things happen as they may. We are aware of the energy in our relationships, whether it is good or bad. Many guys believe a relationship is good if there are no fights. But let me tell you that a relationship with no problems isn't always a sign of peace. When a woman stops fighting, she stops wanting to solve even the smallest problems. She stopped putting effort into the friendship, which is like waving the white flag. She no longer believes that fighting is worth it. This isn't a state of passive calm. High-value guys need to understand that it's not just a break from the relationship. View this change as a lesson in accepting reality, not the way we want it to be. And the truth is that not arguing with her could indicate that she has personally moved on. Think about relationships today. Where there are lots of things to do, partners can move apart without realizing it. People often check out quietly these days because life is so busy. When there aren't any big endings or bold statements, the pace becomes slow. The real danger is the growing detachment that comes with it. Stoicism today helps us become stronger and more aware. Part of that involves recognizing when an individual's actions or lack thereof reveal more than their words. If she responds with a shrug or some other expression when you discuss a relationship issue, it is not due to the fact that all of a sudden she learned how to let go of everything. She has already mentally moved on. Her lack of communication with you signifies the end of the relationship. These days, it's easy to mistake carelessness for peace, but for those of us who choose the silent path, as high-value men, we value happiness and morals more. So it's important to be aware of these small changes. Even in the absence of conflict, problems persist. Sometimes, the problems have grown to such an extent that they are unsolvable. In her eyes, she has decided they are no longer worth fixing, and while they might feel better in the short term, the long-term result of not having to deal with fights or stress is a relationship that's already, even if they haven't broken up yet, it's already over. If you want to determine whether a woman has stopped fighting, listen to her silence. Her silence often speaks louder than her words. A woman who wants to solve problems is likely someone who has mentally checked out. If you agree with me, please let me know. I agree with you. If she is no longer fighting for the connection, you should step back from the relationship. Think about how things are now. Don't wait for the ship to sink. Early detection of the signs and the silent advice to accept what you can't change are key. Instead, focus on your own growth. It's not about blaming her or yourself, but it's about finding out what's really going on and moving forward with grace. Honor and the peace of mind that comes with calmness are important. 5. When she's with you, she uses her phone more. Since you last saw her, she seems to be spending more time on her phone when you're together. When they fix their gaze on you instead of something else, it's important to pay attention, as this is one of the obvious signs. It feels like you're sitting right next to her now, that she's no longer in the relationship. You're not just far apart, though. You feel like you're miles apart. Dealing with her Instagram feed can be challenging. For her attention, she probably shut down mentally long before you noticed. Sure, everyone looks at their phone once in a while, but when a woman always picks up her phone, there's more going on than just spending valuable time with you. Men of immense value who have learned to be stoic can read these signs. They understand that actions carry more weight than mere words. Her phone isn't just a tool anymore, it's a way to escape and a sign that the link between her attention isn't on the two of you right now because she's thinking about something else. She has already withdrawn her interest from your relationship. It must be exciting to connect with you. She is more interested in what other people are doing than in her own, and her place has been taken by strangers' lives online. Beyond what's happening between you two, it's evident that she's seeking enjoyment and acceptance elsewhere. Don't take this lightly, though. It's not just about a cat movie being more captivating than your talk. Imagine you're having dinner with someone, but instead of telling stories, whether she's hanging out with them or not, she's always on her phone, checking her feed. If you attempt to initiate a conversation with her, it often fails as she is preoccupied with other matters. Things like this aren't just rude, they're a sign of something much bigger, and the world we live in today makes it too simple to do. Many men have found themselves in similar situations, questioning how they transitioned from being the main figure to something else. She is referring to a background character in her story. If so, do you agree? If you have other ideas, say yes or let me know. Let's call him Jake. I had a friend who experienced similar situations with his girlfriend. On every date night, he sat across from her while she checked her Snapchat. She became increasingly distant from him as he attempted to communicate with her amidst a sea of selfies and likes. He came to the realization that she wasn't truly interested in him. He was no longer competing with her in their online life, and he lost that fight. So, ask yourself if this sounds like something you've heard before. Do you often feel like her phone has become her best friend? These aren't small signs. They're trying to tell you something important. A Stoic man is someone who believes in himself and follows the Stoic rules. He wouldn't ignore these signs. Instead, he would deal with them quietly and clearly because he knows how valuable he is. They won't settle for anything less than a connection that interests both people. The main lesson here is, instead of letting their anger control them, they should observe, consider, and take action. Men of value never beg for attention. They know when to put their energy somewhere else. Stoic philosophy tells us that we can't control what other people do, only how we felt about it. If she's checked out, you have to be strong enough to leave. Put your trust in someone who values and respects your presence. In that case, what are you going to do? Will you keep trying to get her attention, or will you step up? Let yourself and her know that you deserve more. Sixth, she stops talking about what will happen down the road. One of the first, most subtle signs that a woman is over you is, don't talk about the future you used to dream of together. What did she always say? She always said that we should either do this or we could go there. I am drawing pictures of a future full of big plans and shared times. Whether you were thinking about what you'd name your child or planning trips to talk about moving in together, the dog you were going to adopt during those talks made it clear that you were a part of her plan. When she talks about herself in the third person, like, I might do this, or I've been thinking about doing that, changes that are hard to ignore happen all of a sudden. You see that her weekend plans don't include you. No longer does she think about how her choices might affect you both in the future. That used to bring you two together in possibility has quietly gone away. It situates you on the periphery of a novel realm in which you find yourself alone. At first it may seem small. These seemingly insignificant word changes actually raise serious concerns. It's crucial to seize the moment when we become one and she no longer sees you in her long-term plans. Stoicism informs us that this is a warning sign that you, as a highly valued individual, should not overlook. Often our feelings and wants get in the way of seeing things clearly. In Marcus Aurelius' words, you have power over your mind, not over outside events. Know this and you'll feel stronger. Ask yourself, have you been ignoring the signs? It's simple to pretend that nothing has changed, but are you prepared to confront the reality? She might be preparing for life without you in her mind and heart. This underscores the significance of Stoic lessons in life. Realizing the truth of the situation. Don't let it break your heart. Not only big things fade. When a woman has had enough of you, the little things add up over time. She no longer finds it enjoyable to plan activities with you for the weekend, and she no longer asks for your advice. She stops asking your opinion on things she cared about, and you grow apart. It's not just that she won't follow through with big plans, like moving in with him or discussing getting married. Little things that start to fall apart make you feel like a team. When she considers your ideas, schedule and desires, the connection begins to weaken. One day is no longer a dream for her. Instead, she is planning her own way forward on her own. What are you going to do about it? That is the question you need to ask yourself. Stupidity trains us not to act on impulse or out of fear, but instead, epic teachers told us that how we handle our circumstances matters more than what happens to us. However, the actions you take matter. Are you going to cling on for dear life? Do you want to keep something you lost or let go? Believe this story may be ending and moving on to the next. It's important to ask yourself these questions as you think about these changes and focus on your own growth. What does Stoicism teach me about how to deal with harsh truths? Am I living in line with the calm way of thinking by noticing what's going on around me? Or am I allowing my emotions to force me into denial? Remember, a guy of high value knows that not all relationships are meant to last, and sometimes the most self-respecting thing you can do is walk away. So if you're seeing that you should understand that she might already be preparing for a life without you. Though painful, it's a chance to reclaim your path, guided by Stoicism, and the knowledge it gives you about what to do next. There you have it. Here are 6 distinct indications that a woman has moved on from you. If you're a decent man, you'll notice these signs early. Maintaining self-respect and moving forward with purpose is crucial. If today's video helped you, please like it and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to Stoic Diary. Don't forget to turn on alerts. Ensure you don't miss any of our upcoming Stoic life lessons. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Keep growing and staying strong.